Welcome to the Georgia Florida Baseball Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Georgia Showcase Baseball and its owner, Coach Ben House. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Kevin. How are you?
Man, I am good. I am your host, Kevin Perkins, and today we have the privilege of talking to one Jennifer Ford. Jennifer, thank you for coming on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you gentlemen this morning?
Doing great.
This is neat. This is neat. I'm really glad to have you on. Jennifer is the executive director and board chair of the Rise to Greatness Foundation. The Rise to Greatness Foundation's mission is to provide resources and no-cost programming in America's most socioeconomically challenged neighborhoods. So obviously you are incredibly important to what Ben's trying to do and to the youth and their development in baseball and much more. And we hope to, over the course of this show, find out about the background of the company, what the company does, about its founder, Jerry Ford, about you, the chair, and about the future of your company. Think we can try to do all that today?
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Sounds good. And we will do all of that and more after this.
This is the Georgia Florida Baseball Show, brought to you by Coach Ben House, with Kevin Perkins from Surrounded by Sports.
Welcome back. Thank you to our sponsors, Arden's Garden, Atlanta's source for juices, smoothies, and plant-based foods, and Showcase Apparel, the fit for your team. Ben, why did you think it was important to have Jennifer on the show?
Well, Jennifer and her family, the Ford family, they exemplify what I'm trying to do in my program on the south side of Atlanta, and that's giving back to the youth. And she and her family has helped me tremendously with running camps, getting kids exposure through some of her programming, with having camps with scouts and recruiters out there, and having me invite some of my kids out there to get exposed. So she is about giving back and helping the kids that need help. Not only in Atlanta, but she does it throughout the country, and I think she's a wonderful person, and I think her family's great for what we're trying to do for minority baseball and for baseball period. So, and I think the world needs to hear what she's doing.
Good. Jennifer, first of all, that feels pretty good to hear, right?
It does. I love being able to work with folks like Ben. It just makes our mission and what we're trying to accomplish so invaluable.
Okay, let's start out by finding out a little bit of what, dip our toe in a little bit as to what the Rise to Greatness Foundation is.
Absolutely. Do you want to know the history of how we got here? Would that help?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, great. So my dad, Jerry Ford, as you mentioned, has been in and around baseball for 50 plus years. We grew up as a baseball family. I had two younger brothers who actually signed professionally. And my dad started out as a Legion ball coach back in the day when Legion ball was where everybody went, and then became a very successful small Iowa college coach. And then was a part-time twin scout as well back in the day. And dad had, so just a little bit of context. So we live in the state of Iowa. We were born and raised here. And the state of Iowa is the only state to this day that still runs baseball, high school baseball in the summer. And so, as you can imagine, what was happening is all the recruiting and the drafting and everything was happening, and kids were in essence losing their senior season. It was just pretty much all the recruiting was over with. So my dad had this idea that if you brought the best players from the state of Iowa, of which we have 99 counties here in Iowa, into one location and brought in the scouts and the college coaches to look at those kids, that we would have a higher likelihood of sort of leveling the playing field for athletes in our state and truly in the Midwest. So we're a cold winter weather state. So certainly, there was automatically a disadvantage of not being able to play year-round baseball here. And this is way before the years of people having tons of indoor training facilities and all
Right.
of that. My dad tells a really funny story when he was a little boy playing baseball that they used to have to shovel the snow off of the baseball diamond to play. So he started out. My brother Andy helped found the company. A few others, Jason Gers, founded the company. And what was ironic is what was at one time the hardest state to recruit in became the easiest state to recruit in. And my dad tells an amazing story how all of a sudden kids from Iowa are being recruited into UCLA and LSU and Mississippi State and all over the place, where once that had never happened. And then, they realized, wow, this is really helping kids, but we've got to build a business model that's sustainable if we want to keep
Right.
helping these kids. And so originally, most people don't know this story, but originally my father, because he had been a Legion coach, approached the American Legion to sort of help launch this. And, they decided to, this might have been too tough of an undertaking at the time. And so my brother and my father and others started reaching out into travel baseball, some of the big ones, that have been around for a long time: East Cobb, NorCal, Dallas Patriots, all of those groups. And then the rest is sort of history. So my dad is the founder of Perfect Game Baseball, had a tremendous run, loved everything about helping kids be seen for their talent. And then in 2022, sold the company completely and retired, and now spends his time watching a lot of grandkids in sporting activities on the weekend. And then we drag them out to our charity events whenever we can, for sure. So what I think, it's a lot to digest there, but I think the most important thing is that for years, even when my dad owned Perfect Game, he did a lot of philanthropic work of scholarshiping kids and teams, like the Breakthrough Series, et cetera, into events, because he very quickly realized that there's sort of an inequity piece built into travel sports. And this is not just baseball. I know over the years I've gotten a little kind of irritated that all the daggers kind of come at baseball, but volleyball's the same, and basketball's the same, and cheerleading's the same, and dance is the same. So it's just increasingly getting more expensive in travel sport. But we certainly see the value in it, right? And so for years, my dad did a lot of this work behind the scenes. And then I went through a transition, and we decided to launch Perfect Game Cares, which then in turn, when my dad sold the company, we transitioned into Rise to Greatness, just so we could be sort of agnostic or Switzerland in the space and work with multiple people and not have to worry about, being tied to just one for-profit entity.
Right. Right. Now what brings you into because I want to say you told me before that you were in a completely different field. And what brings you into this company that you are excelling in?
Yeah, personal story. I ran and owned my own event company. So not in sports, but high profile event planning with conventions and big weddings and corporate events and galas and all of that. So I lived and breathed that space for about 35 years out on the East Coast. And once I realized, so I'm a 3-time cancer survivor, and I think sometimes a lot of folks, when they go through that struggle and come out the other end, it sort of causes you to take pause about where you are at in your life. And I have done so much philanthropic work over the years for children, for homelessness, for pediatric cancer, that I always knew I would end up here. I thought it would be after I retired at 65 from the career that I had built. But sometimes things work out and divine intervention happens. And so when I had an opportunity to move home for the first time in 22 years and be close to my family, who I adore, and also the realization that I'm lucky to be here, I think, realizing that this was sort of a legacy project for my dad and something that's sort of really important to him, that's kind of all the nudge I needed, so to speak, to make that transition a little bit earlier than expected.
Right. I would think that as an event planner, it's a pretty easy you're planning events. That's what
Mhm.
you do, right? So it was a
Yeah.
fairly smooth transition. You already were into philanthropic work. It seems to be a family calling, philanthropic work. You also told me that you guys didn't grow up with a ton. So
Mhm.
it made a lot of sense when you started to do well to start trying to help people that needed a little boost here and there to be successful. It's amazing how the things we have done lead us to what we need to do,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
I really believe that. I think people are, people, I think all people, you reach that fork in the road, that moment in your life where you're like, I can go this way or this way. I see this as a calling. I was unable to have children. I am dearly blessed with an amazing stepdaughter. And as a result, I think, I see the kids that we interact with a little bit like this is my love. This is my maternal instinct is to love on these kids that need it. So yeah, I think it's a deeper passion. And I think you're right. I think when you grew up, my dad didn't start Perfect Game till he was almost, I think, 47, 48 years of age. So we were all raised pretty much. And we grew up in generational poverty. And so I think, it's really important to never forget that. And when there is success, to always look for ways to reach back because we were once one of those families.
Right. And he sees a system that he knows needs tweaking.
Mhm.
And
There's
he's
always
been
room.
all the way
Yeah.
through it. So he knows how to adjust that. And then the adjustment, he sees another way to not correct, but improve that system through what you're doing now.
Yeah, the system has helped a lot of kids. So, we would never be ones to poo-poo that. I just think that you get to a point, and this is true in anything, right? I don't think this is just in baseball or just in sports. My dad, sort of the guiding light of our foundation, is the fact that my dad has this belief, and we were reared in this belief that if you find out where a child's passion is, what they enjoy doing, what brings them joy to do, and if the resources or opportunity do not exist in that line of passion, but you flood it, you stop and say, okay, you're really into this, we're going to support it, the likelihood of that child finding success in the things that they love or are passionate about definitely exists. And so, I think even with our foundation, obviously we're baseball and now softball heavy. I think there's a bigger picture. My dad talks about it all the time of what we would like to accomplish in that vein. So, finding kids maybe through baseball, but finding out that there's other things they're into and eventually being able to scale to help those kids as well.
Right. Right. And now, Ben, the transition from what you like to do to what you wind up doing is not always a straight line, right? Life's not an incline. Life's kind of like a roller coaster, and hopefully it ends up
Mm-hmm.
higher than where it started, right? And when, for example, I run restaurants when I'm not doing this, and
Okay.
basically the a simple cooking class I took in high school and playing catcher are the two things I needed to be able to run a restaurant and simple arithmetic, like adding pennies up
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, right? Ben, the lessons you learn in baseball, they transition throughout your life if you do it right, right?
Yeah, exactly. Um, and like we've always talked about, baseball is a failure sport. So you're gonna fail a lot in baseball, but it's how you overcome it. And if you really truly love something and you want to work at it to get better, that's just kind of how life is. You're gonna have some stumbles and you're gonna have some obstacles in your life. But if you really love something, you're going to continue to get back on that bike and ride it until you get better at it. And with Jennifer, she's just an awesome person, and she was right. This is definitely her calling because everyone that I've been in touch with that speaks so highly of Jennifer. Tony Van Doldren, that's with Perfect Game right now. He's the one that introduced me to Jennifer. Greg Goodwin, everyone that's surrounded by her is just it's just great people. And that's what makes her so wonderful, is because she's surrounded by great people that loves what she's doing, what her vision is, and that's helping children. And she's not going to have anyone that's in her circle that doesn't have the same vision that she does, that doesn't have the same passion that she does. So, and that's not like that's what it is in business. If you don't have people around you that loves what you're doing, that loves the same things that you're doing, it's not going to work, or it may not be for you. This is my passion. I love kids. I love giving back. I love seeing kids get better at what they're doing. Right now, I'm sponsoring one of my teams in my program, and it's been a tremendous joy just to be able to help those families and those kids be able to enjoy baseball without coming out of their pockets. The things that Jennifer's doing right now is helping me to see how I can help. She came out and she gave us shirts for our summer camp. And all of my kids and families, we're wearing the shirts. Rise to greatness, because that's what we're about now. We're about rising to greatness, and we're about supporting the things that are important in life.
Jen, you want to tell us a little bit more about the no-cost kids grow the game camps and the giveaways?
Yeah, sure. Well, first, I just want to say, Ben, listen, the smartest thing we do is surround ourselves with really good human beings who care about kids. It's literally the template of why we're able to move the needle in the ways that we are. We have a tremendously loyal MLB team full of former and current big leaguers that have bought in, and they are, as Ben knows, on the ground working these camps. And then the other really important advice that I took a long time ago was, if you're going to go into these communities, in particular the minority communities, make sure you're working with the folks that are in the trenches, boots on the ground, doing the work, know where these kids are, and know what they need. And so we took that advice, and it's been the best advice possible. So Ben, I count you as part of our team, so I appreciate you saying that, because that's a cornerstone of why we've been effective. So we started out, Kevin, doing kids camps. That was the first thing that we did, and a lot of that is because with a kids camps, not only do we want to get the kids right as young as possible to expose them and have a positive memory of baseball, we're also trying to create baseball fans. My dad says this all the time. The average age of a fan right now is 57 years old. And so and a lot of people are doing amazing work around this. But, we can't have too many kids camps. That's the way I look at it. The more people that can run it, the more people that can expose children at a young age to baseball and softball, the better. So we started out running kids camps, and I remember the first time I told our team that we were going to invite 500 kids. They all asked me if I was insane. And I said, well, I was thinking 1,000, but I'm glad I cut it down to 500. So we do invite out 500 kids. So what this looks like is we'll go into a community, for instance, Hoover/Birmingham, and we will strategically make sure that we approach the elementary schools that are in the most need, the areas where there's the most underserved population. And we invite them out, no cost, out for a wonderful day in the park. And what this typically looks like is we have a massive team of generational baseball. That's what I call it. So we have the old timers, the folks that are in their 70s and 80s that still have so much to give the game, down to the guys that have been out of the game and retired for 20 years, down to the guys who just retired, current players if it's in the off season. And then we reach out in community to the college programs and the high school programs, because these kids programs are aged 3 to 12. And I want these kids to see generations of baseball players, in particular in the minority community, so they have a clear pathway of, listen, this might be a pathway for me. I see lots of different, folks of different ages playing baseball. And I think it also, the main reason that we include, kid programs, softball and baseball programs from college and high school is, I just don't we all hope that this next generation and the one after that will continue to reach back, right? That's part of the mentorship that we're looking to accomplish, is keep reaching back. In society today, it's so often easy to get caught up in the me part of things. But I think it's really important to encourage these young athletes that, hey, you're going to be somebody's hero someday. Don't forget that. And so we invite them out. We glove them all up thanks to an amazing partnership and deal we have with Rawlings. Rise to Greatness and Rawlings provides a kid's glove that goes home with them so they can actually play catch when they get home. They all get an autographed baseball from all the players. It's pretty amazing to see our guys sit down and sign 500 baseballs at a time. I don't know too many people that would be willing to do that. They get a bat, they get a ball, they get a bag, they get a t-shirt, and we serve them lunch because we know that in this underserved population, food insecurity is often an issue as well. And they have a great time. And now we are beginning to look for sustainable ways that those same kids could have access. So we do like a flyer that shows all the organized baseball in the area, from rec ball to YMCA leagues to Little League to RBI programs to programs like Ben runs, just so that if there is an interest or a fire lit, they now can actively go into programming. And it's a great thing. And so that has been just incredibly successful for us. And we love running it. It's definitely my dad's favorite thing to do. Yeah. And then, we recognize that there is a ton of kids that are not getting seen and have incredible talent, and it's solely due to financial means. And so we were like, okay, how are we going to handle that? We've got to have a solution for that. And so last fall we launched a combine series. We're very strategic about that. We always run it as a second day to the kids camp wherever we go. And like in Birmingham, Ben was there. Ben, I would love your impression on this after I describe it, but we had 152 high school 13 to 18-year-olds out, and we test them. We run through all the metrics testing and capture all that data. And then we also pay for Skillshow to come out and video the kids so they have professional grade videos. And the real beautiful moment happens where coaches like Ben and our MLB team and other coaches like Greg Goodwin and Travis Easy and, everybody all come together. And as the kids are combining, they do hands-on development training, which is so important. We have watched, in fact, in Birmingham, there was a young man who was ready to give up baseball. He was just frustrated. His confidence was gone. His dad was like, no, keep trying, keep trying. He had lost his fire. And he came out to our free combine, and literally the kid fell in love with the sport all over again. And it was because people like Luis Gonzalez and Marlon Anderson and Dimitri Young are all encouraging him. Hey, you got a great swing. That's natural ability, and so forth and so on. And to my understanding, the kid made all state this summer, or this last spring. And so, those kinds of things make you feel really good that you're doing that. And the other thing I should mention, we have a partner in QuestFit that they offer them a completely complimentary free premium profile where they can basically go in, upload all their data, and there's a algorithm in there that matches them with colleges that they might be a good fit based on GPA, need, baseball metrics, etc. So our goal, as much as we love watching the draft and we love to see, baseball at its highest level, our goal is really to change the narrative to get these kids an opportunity, whether it's JUCO, whether it's D3, D2. We really don't care, because we know some of these families have never had a college educated person in their families. So that's a win, right? And then the other thing we do, and then Ben, I'm going to quit talking because I'm just throwing up
good.
on
You're
this.
good.
We also, while the kids are testing, we provide a parent educational symposium on things like financial literacy, mental health and sports performance training, and all of those what we call wraparound services, so that parents are also getting information that can be useful to them. And the beauty in this is that, we don't do anything with the data. We're not there scouting. We're not ranking players. We're not doing all of that. We're just a service that's trying to get these kids their numbers so then they can start the recruiting process, since they're being missed solely because of financial need. And a few of those kids, that we found are just tremendous. I won't even take credit. When I say found, I don't mean to take any credit. These kids just have beautiful ability. But a couple of the kids from our combines, we've actually scholarshiped into things like the PG National Showcase, et cetera, because we recognize that they're at that level where they need to be on the biggest platform or being seen by the scouts, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a big part of our programming. Ben, I'll turn it over to you.
No, you're good. That's wonderful information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was wonderful. The combine, the parents came back talking about the symposium. The kids were talking about, running the 60 and Dimitri Young and Luis Gonzalez, they're all helping them with their swings. And it was just a great atmosphere. You had pro guys out there, man. And, them being on the college field, on the college campus. And then we had some of our coaches there that was very impressed in the stands, just seeing how it was ran and how organized it was. And the kids were excited. And now that some of the other kids are asking about the combine series that was in Hoover. They're wanting to go. Some of the kids that are going to be in high school next year, they're wanting to go, wondering how they can get invited. So it's a great thing for my organization to be a part of with the kids, the coaches, and parents.
Right.
Yeah, and we are coming to Atlanta next year, so that'll be perfect timing.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, I would. Ben had me come up and get a little footage that he put on his Instagram and stuff, and I was overwhelmed by how many pro ball players you had there. I gravitated towards watching the pitching area, and then like when Charles Johnson was working with the catchers, and how dialed in they all were listening to him, and it was just a really neat. And also, though, going back to the event planner thing, that is a huge undertaking. I mean, I'm sure you had to set up hotels for all these people and have all these guys come in, and then you had to get lunch for everybody, you had to get shirts, hats. It was a whole thing, and very impressive, very impressive.
Yeah, it was like a reunion with for me, because I saw some of the kids, some of the guys that I played with, and it was I haven't seen in what 20, 30 years or more. It was a great experience. Great experience.
Right.
Yeah, Kevin, you talk about Charles Johnson in particular. Like, Charles Johnson was the last Black catcher in MLB history. Yeah. And for these young, especially African-American catchers, to get a master class instruction over the course of a day from somebody like Charles Johnson, like you can't, it's priceless. You can't even put a dollar amount on how valuable something like that is, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Wednesday Learning Lab?
Yeah, for sure. Excited to, actually. So when we started doing combines and we did this parental piece where the parents would come in, this educational symposium, Dr. Allie Dake, who's with Level Up Sports Performance, she's a big part of us. She's on our board. Her and I sat down and said, hey, wait a second, this is super great for parents and or kids that are attending our combines, but what about everybody else? So Dr. Allie and I decided that the information that we are providing at these combines, why not expand that so that families and players all across the country would have access to this information? And rather than invest a bunch of money into an expensive podcast, no offense, because you guys are the pros at this.
Right.
I was like, we just need to dumb this down and like have this as a webinar, a free Zoom webinar. And so we can take up to 500 parents / players at a time, and we launch the Learning Lab. And so it's usually on Wednesday nights. Sometimes it changes. It was supposed to be this Wednesday, but with the hurricane rolling through Florida, we decided to postpone for a week. But anyone can sign up at education@risetogreatness.org and send us an email. We do one a month, and we pick a specific topics. So like the one coming up, which is October 16th, is all around sports, nutrition, arm care, all of that. And we surround ourselves with experts. So we bring in leading experts in those chosen fields to talk. So a certified baseball or sports nutritionist, Ron Walforth from Texas Baseball Ranch is going to come in and talk about arm care. Kyle Farnsworth, who's part of our MLB team. I don't know if you guys have seen him lately, but he's in great shape, and he's going to talk about strength and conditioning. Dr. Ali is going to talk about mental performance. And so last month we did one that was so great. It was all around branding and marketing and how to navigate the wild west of NIL and social media. And then November 20th, we're going to launch another one that is everything due to college recruiting. So we'll have college recruiters on, college coaches on, et cetera, maybe a parent or two that have successfully navigated that. So we launched it. It's free for everyone. We hope everybody will spread the word on it. And again, it's just about having access to information, no matter if you're rich, poor, black, white, doesn't matter. Like information is key, right? And this is a tough space to navigate if you've never had any experience navigating it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's catch a break real quick and we'll come back and I want to talk a little bit about what the future might be for Rise to Greatness and a couple other little things before we wrap. Okay. We'll get a break right now. And we are back. Welcome back. And thank you again to Arden's Garden, Atlanta's source for smoothies, juices, and plant-based foods. And of course, Showcase Apparel, the fit for your team. Now, you also, Jen, the Rise to Greatness Foundation also provides scholarships for athletes that when they reach a level to where they need to go to a bigger stage, you guys can help subsidize that. Is that true?
We do. Obviously, we're still growing that program. So we can't help as many kids as I'd like to be helping. I'd like to help everybody.
Right.
But that is absolutely true. We just look at ourselves as a conduit. And if there's a kid that deserves to be on that big stage, that needs to be seen at that higher level, then there are lots of programs to get them into. And so we've had a lot of really wonderful stories come back to us about the kids that we've been able to scholarship, a couple of teams we've been able to scholarship into events. And it's really just about providing opportunity, right? We're never going to be a foundation that takes credit for anybody's ability on the field or even off the field. But if we can sort of be the pathway to help get them on that bigger stage, then we certainly want to do that.
Well, the neat thing here to me is about your organization. Like if a guy is coaching in an area, he's a little bit invested in getting his guys somewhere else, right? Like if I coach at this high school, maybe I want to make sure my high school players get stuff. Whereas you can be more macro about it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can say, well, I want everybody to have this stage, and if I can help them, then you don't have to pick favorites in your region. You know what I mean? Because you don't have a region. You have everything is your region, right?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Now,
yeah, that's absolutely right.
Now, you are having do you have a 2024 Celebration of Greatness Gala and golf tourney coming up? Is that right?
We do in Vegas. We moved it to Vegas this year. We decided a couple years ago that certainly the golf event is a phenomenal golf event. Like everybody gets celebrities on their foursome and it's a great big party and everybody has a great time. But one of the transitions that we made, this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It is open for ticket purchasing, so the public can attend. But we decided that let's not hold a gala that is solely about what we've done for the year. It just, we're kind of humble people. And so we decided that this is an amazing opportunity to celebrate people that are doing great things in our space and around our space. And so, I get a question a lot like, but you're celebrating people that are your competition. I don't see it as competition. Anyone that is in this business trying to help kids, that's a win. I don't care if it's us or somebody else. If the kid or family is benefiting, that's a win, right? So we celebrate people doing amazing things. And, we're always on the hunt for the people really in the trenches doing the work. I know last year, Ben, we honored Greg Goodwin, who long overdue. Greg Goodwin has been in this game for a long, long time, doing amazing work. This year, we're honoring Marquise Grissom and Lou Collier out of Atlanta. Again, they've been in the trenches doing the work for a long time. And I just think it's great to celebrate people doing great things as long as it's around kids. Like that's our criteria is you have to be doing something great for kids, and the underserved part of things needs to sort of gel. There's an amazing school that Pitbull and my friend Renee started in Miami and has now grown to 14 schools called SLAM. I encourage everybody to check it out. We're honoring them. What they do is absolutely on steroids. I mean, literally, it's crazy the kids that come out of their program. So yeah, it's a great time. It's a big fundraiser for us, but it's really about celebrating people who are doing the hard work every day.
See, again, that lends itself to the fact that you guys don't have to pick favorites.
Right.
You even get to say, yeah, a lot of people will be like, well, wait a minute, they do what we do. But you say, no, come on to our party and let's celebrate you too for what you're doing. Right?
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
Right.
I mean, and that's the key is, it's kind of full circle, but it's really who you surround yourself with, right? Mm-hmm. And this type of work is very challenging. I tell people all the time, we are never going to run out of kids and families that need help. Like that's not our issue. Our only issue is the backlog of cities that are, please come to our city, please. I think we're up to 34 or 35 cities. And so now we're at that juxtaposition of, as much as my dad has been generous to fund us, we're now at that place where if we're going to scale in significant ways, we need to get the message out there so that the people who share our passion for this demographic and for this sport understand it and may want to join forces with us. We're stronger together.
Right. Yeah. You want to quickly tell people how they can get in touch with you, how they can donate if they want to?
Yeah, so our website is www.rise, the number two, not the word two, greatness.org. Certainly you can do that. I mean, my cell phone and email is all over everything. So if anyone wants to call me, my phone number is 319-640-0556. My email is jennifer@risetogreatness.org. Anyone that would like to, get involved and help these kids and help the sport, we're open to that. I think there's way more people out there that want to see these opportunities for these kids exist than there is that aren't. And there's a ton of people doing amazing work around this same space. So the more the merrier. We're never going to run out of kids to help. And, collaboration is a big part of what we do, as Ben mentioned. I would never come to Atlanta and run programming without people like Ben and Greg Goodwin and Marquise and Lou Collier and others in that area. I will never go to Chicago and not have people like Marcus Nettles and Karan and Radcliffe and all those guys involved. It just makes sense. And so it's just great when you can hopefully leave the community or the folks in the trenches doing the work a little bit better than what you found it. So yeah, I think that's really important. That's really the message is we can scale as big as we need to. We just, are looking for folks that want to join the cause and get involved and help the kids. That's really where we're at right now.
Right. So what does the future hold for you?
Yeah, so you guys are hearing it first. Actually, we have not. I'm happy to give you a couple little, what do you call those? What do you call that when the press gets the first news? I
A
can't even
spoiler.
think of the word. Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
spoiler alert.
So we come from a big military family as well. My father's a vet. My brother was a 22-year Navy man. My husband's a vet. My daughter's a vet. My grandfather's, et cetera, et cetera. And so in combination with Level Up and GoatNet, we're actually launching a military tour. It's going to be called Frontline Tours. The first one is going to be in June of next year at Camp Pendleton. And we're bringing programming to the base. So kids camp, celebrity softball game where our celebrities will mix with the military personnel. We're going to talk people like Scotty Kazmir and Kyle Farnsworth into being a Marine for a day. So we'll see how that goes. But if anyone can do it, they can do it.
Right.
So our goal with that to scale that is essentially we'd like to do 4 bases a year, 1 a quarter. And hit sort of the 4 main branches of the military: Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. So just our way to give back. I watched my brother's family and so many families, oftentimes as important as it is to honor, and it is important to honor the service member and the veterans for sure, who've sacrificed so much. It's equally as important for us to honor the families that serve alongside of them. So to bring that programming to the kids and the spouses is really special to us. So we're really excited about launching that initiative. And then we're gonna also, continue. We've started, slow started, with like a gear distribution program. We scholarshiped an entire high school program in a very rough neighborhood in North Charleston with the help of our partners, with uniforms and gloves and bats, et cetera. And we just met, Marlon Anderson and I met with a school down in Alabama that we're going to be doing that with as well. So super proud of that programming as well, and just continuing to grow and help kids. That's really what we're after. Just help kids and level the playing field.
Right.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Ben, you got anything else, man?
Man, it's just I think Jennifer said it all, man. It's just about helping each other, and like she was saying, it's no competition. Everybody's trying to help each other. Just the same thing in travel ball in South Side of Atlanta. We get kids from other programs. Our kids leave and go to other programs. But what's the ultimate goal for these kids? The ultimate goal is to get them seen. Trying to get them to that next level, and try to reach their dreams of playing baseball, and also just get them somewhere where they can be, where scouts can look at them, or recruiters can look at them, trying to get them in school, and those things are the most important things. Just having good people around you, having great families around you. With my program, like I said, I'm sponsoring one of my teams, my 9U team, and my ultimate goal and vision is to be able to sponsor each and every one of these teams in my program. Where parents don't have to come out of their pockets to pay, to play baseball. That's my ultimate goal, is to be able to to help these families, to be able just to enjoy playing baseball, and with no strain or stress.
Right.
Yeah, Ben, I just want to make one mention because I really commend you for what you're doing there. And, sometimes, everybody hears the naysay about travel sports, right? It's so expensive, it's pay for play, all of that. But, it's been interesting to become aware in the last 6 years of how many programs, just like you, are scholarshiping kids on. I don't think the average person really understands that a lot of these travel orgs are scholarshiping kids on. There's a lot of incredibly generous people in the space who want their kids to have access. I think, the beauty is if your kid is one of those top kids like Termar Johnson, or those kids are good. They're so uber Keon Johnson, they're so uber talented that everybody's looking at them. I think for us, while we're certainly celebrating that and we certainly love those kids, Many of them are involved with us. I think it's important to also look at the grassroots effort, that if we all need to make a concerted effort to expose more kids to the sport, for things like violence prevention. When you're in these inner cities, what's the worst time for a kid is idle time in the summer. So if they can get into a summer program or be around really good positive mentors like you, Ben, there's a chance that you're going to keep those kids from falling victim to the street. So that's another important part of what we're doing as well.
Right.
I think that's a good place to wrap. Ben, you want to tell people how they can find you, get in touch with you, get some apparel?
Yeah, well, yeah. My phone number is 678-469-5994. And my email address is showcasebaseball.georgia@gmail.com. And Showcase Apparel is on my Instagram. And that's one of the ways that I'm actually helping these kids in my program is by selling apparel, whether it's baseball, uniforms, football, basketball, polo shirts, one I have on right now, for companies or whatever it is. That's my way of giving back to my program. Is just by, selling apparel. And we have great quality and fast service, and I think you'll like it once you see it. Yeah.
Good deal. Jen, you want to tell people one more time how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can reach me at Jennifer, JENNIFER, at risetogreatness.org, or my phone number 319-640-0556. So just excited to talk to everybody, eager to look at, a city close to you and see if there's a natural fit. And the more the merrier. Come join the team. We're having a lot of fun helping kids.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Folks, thank you for watching. I hope you got some information, and take good care of yourselves.
Thank you so much for having me, gentlemen. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome.
You too.
Awesome.
Jennifer, congratulations on your grandbaby.
Oh, he is the light of my life.